The truth is that we know a very limited area of a subject, and we are presenting it as we are having a holistic picture. And it is very important for science journalism that they must have a holistic picture of the developments, whether they are scientific, whether they are social. So when you are talking holistically, then there are many negatives which can be turned into positives with the time, with diversity of knowledge, with diversity of techniques. So because of that, I change the topic to this. What is science? Let us start from there. Scientific fact is something which is measurable and which is reproducible. A flower is beautiful, but it is not measurable. There is no balance or no scale to measure beauty. So it is not science. Secondly, it is not reproducible. When you ask another person, that flower may not be that much beautiful in his or her eyes. So we can't call it science. It is neither measurable nor reproducible. But if you say that this glass is 300 grams, then it is measurable. And if anyone, anywhere in the world weighs it, it will have the same weight. So it is reproducible. This is the main difference between scientific facts and non-scientific facts. Yes, sir? Various builders and their rule. This is the summary of my talk, but what I want to mention that from very childhood I liked journalism, but I didn't know that a time will come that I will be with you journalists and we will be mutually. So this is my first time talking to journalists. Probably SNT had a program a few years back in which I spoke a little bit, just give comments. But this is the first time that I am speaking to a journalist meeting, and from my very childhood, I liked journalism. So last night I was thinking that probably that was that love which brought me here. So thanks to Asif and all of you, and you are the pioneers of this part of the world, that you are thinking of science journalism, which is the most important thing for the socio-economic development of a nation and a country. So the main topics are what are different sorts of different types of builders and their roles. What's journalism? What is science journalism? Then I was asked to tell about the branches of science. Then public demand from journalism in terms of science and technology, and what to tell the public, the outcome of science, better society through better economy, but how? Yes, please. There are three types of main builders for the socio-economic development of a nation. One is the economy builder, which is industrialist. In our country, they import the products which they make in their own industry. Can such an industry be trusted by others? Never. And your economy is not developing in that way. The second is the opinion builder. And opinion builder is the journalist. If the journalist makes compromises for money, for pressure, for various sorts of things, for a motorbike, then you can't build the opinion you need for the development of a society. The third and the most important builder is the nation builder, the teacher. Last 60 years, development showed that the teacher has badly failed in developing, nurturing a society. We need to live at par with the developed world. So we are all failing constantly. And I was thinking that I am the main responsible person of this society as a teacher. But when I look at you, you are more important, because your message reaches every eye and every ear, and you can convince people. And the art of journalism is such an art, it is just like poetry, that you criticize people, you guide people, you offend people in a way, but they don't feel offended. And that is the artistic aspect of journalism, that you tell the truth, but in such a way, in such a soft language, that people don't mind it. All the people in the society blame the government. And the government, in my eyes, is a group of servants and answerable to the society. So society is the ruler. If you think that the developed world, they are scared of Allah, that is why they are honest, that is why they are hardworking, that is why they are sincere, it is completely wrong. They are scared of the society, because if they don't ban a wrong product, if they allow something wrong in the market, then the society is against the market and the government. So Imran Khan or your chief minister or your governor is your servant. And only journalism can teach people that they are not rulers, they are your servants. The real builders of a society are these three: the industrialist, who is the builder of economy; the teacher, who is the nation builder. The teacher builds the journalist as well. That's why people call him the nation builder. Teacher is the main builder of the society, who is time and again failing, and we are putting the burden and responsibility on other people. If I say that the society is wrong, that is why I couldn't produce a good nation. Teacher must be above the society. If he flows with the water of the society, then he is not a teacher, a mind maker. So the whole failure is because of the teacher. Teacher must be above the society, and he should pull the society upwards, and that will develop the society. If you look, people say that the European society is the product of their university, but my society is not the product of my university. Because I say society is ruling me. If I don't do corruption, if I don't do this thing wrong, then I will have no status in the society. I am presenting you my model. None forced me in this country. For the last 16 years I am working. Ask the governor, ask the president, ask the vice chancellor. None will come towards me for corruption. So if you become strong, even you die for that cause, it is good, but never compromise the principles. People who do that, they have developed their world, their part of the world, and the cream of the world is pouring towards those countries. Everybody is not after money. People need security. People need standard education. People need standard health services, and those people are giving, and the cream of your nation and all the poor nations are running towards them. So their security person is a doctor who is not talking with the open heart to our people here when he is sitting in the clinic in Pakistan, but here he is happily doing security job. This doesn't mean that he has fallen his level down. No, there the security person is honored equally. He doesn't mind to be a security guard. but he minds here to be under anyone. So this is the society which they made and which established norms. One of the senior most professor was going with me on a street in England, and he dropped down a tissue paper, and everybody looked at him with very bad eyes. And he looked at me that, did everybody mind it? I said, of course. Why will they not mind it? When you clean something, you clean your house, and when somebody comes from outside and throws some dirt there, you will be very angry with him. So the people who make their countries, then they are taking care of that as well. Right? So it is the society which rules, not the government. Don't tell that the government is responsible. If the government is wrong, this means my society is wrong to elect wrong people. Because my priorities are like that. If my priorities were different, then I would have gone through another way. What is a slave? I mean slave mentality. Or do you think honesty and sincerity, as I told you, of the American and European is not because of the fear of God, but because of the society? And secondly, when you trust them, when you trust in their market, you buy more. In 1995, the statistic of American market showed $20 billion shoplifting was done. The security people were asked that, couldn't you stop it? They say, no, we saw them. We have cameras everywhere. We can prove that this person did it. But if we start to search people's pockets, then we will lose almost 50% of our customers. And from the same customer, we are earning $80 billion. So if they take 20 billion in shoplifting, it makes no difference for us, because we are already getting 50 billion from them, 80 billion from them. So this is the trust of the market. So they are not looking for Jannah or paradise. They are looking for the customer's trust, and that is why they are successful in this world. Yes, please. Dr. Khurshid, he used to sit in my office for long. He said that I asked Bacha Khan, what is slavery? And Bacha Khan replied that I am in prison, but when I speak the truth, I am not scary. So I am not a slave. And he said that he pointed finger at me, that you are outside the prison, but when you speak the truth, you feel scared. This means you are a slave. So think about it as a journalist. If you feel scared when you are speaking truth, then don't say I am a free person and my country is free, and struggle for that freedom through your pen. And that pen is the most powerful tool on earth. And people have done it. Yes, sir. Journalism, which I am a science student. I don't know about journalism that much. I read newspapers. I sit with some people who knows a little bit journalism, but I can't claim. So I copied these things from here and there just to enhance my knowledge and just to make the sequence good. That journalism, they say, it's not tabloid, it's not movies, it's not advertising and blogs and paparazzi, night shows, support and oppose specific sides of issue. But they say that journalism is to find the facts and tell the truth to the society. They say engage and inform public about the current events, keep them updated, create discussion about issues. Once I was invited by a radio for a discussion on why our education system failed to develop tolerance among the students and the society. And I very happily was going there to blame everything on the society. But I rang an elder and asked him that the radio wants me to talk about this thing, and he asked me, what will you tell them? I told him that I will say the society is wrong and teacher can do nothing with such a society. So he laughed at me and told me that why are you putting your burden, your responsibility on other people? You are the responsible person. And if the well is empty, none should expect water from there. If the teacher has no tolerance, how can he or she teach the others for tolerance? So the main thing is that create discussion about issues. The realization of what you are thinking is wrong. And the mankind has been wrong for millions of years. So it is not a strange thing. Before Galileo, the topmost professor of human histories thought that the earth is at rest. For millions of years, we all believed, and even some of our people believed it up to very recent times, and they used to consider it kufr if you say the earth is moving, right? So this means we can be wrong because the best historians, philosophers, scientists didn't know that the earth is moving. So never think that your thought is the final nail in the subject area. No, start it from there. You are at the starting point and welcome the changes, the modifications with a broad mind. Because when you lock your mind, this means you died. There is nothing more there. Only the knowledge keeps you alive. So always be open for discussion, and this is the way of educated and tolerant people to move forward. Last night I saw a video and they say that now people are doing exercise for body fitness. And I laughed at him that body fitness is nothing. Games should be done to learn defeat. Harna siko and survive that. And when you learn that, then you are a strong man. So if you are discussing things and you learn that yes, I am wrong and that person is right? This is the way to move forward. If we stick to our opinion, that will make us arrogant as well as ignorant. So always be flexible. And the main sources, as you know, newspaper, radio, television, websites, and social media groups. And one of the popular most poet of this region, you asked him anything and he used to reply with the best possible answer among many educated people. And he was Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, right? So I asked him that what is your qualification? So he laughed and told me nothing, and that I haven't gone to school or something like that. So I asked him then, from where do you learn? He told me, I listen to radio. So if is playing its role, then this radio is much, much more influential and effective tool than hundreds of universities. But my journalism must be, look at it. Many professors, when they are talking on the television and radio, they are telling people wrong history. They don't know. And only a few people know. I heard from a very popular professor, and he was introducing Kalandar Momand, and he was saying that Kalandar Khan Momand, and the other professor said Momand Kalandar or something like that. So I was driving on the motorway and I stopped at the side and found that person. His name is Sayyid Habibur Rahman Kalandar, and Mamand is his tribe. And if you as professor are telling people that, then what will the new generation learn? So don't say if you don't know. This is the most important thing. If you don't know, don't say. And whenever you want to say something publicly, at least show them to your colleagues. And that will initiate a discussion. And that will take the train of knowledge forward. The train of knowledge will go forward, but learn to lose and learn to tolerate. If there is no water in the well, people shouldn't expect that you will teach tolerance to your student. The teacher must be great. The teacher must be a mind maker. If he is not a mind maker, he shouldn't be a teacher. So always, it is not bad to be a peon if the society give equal honor to them. So this is the problem of the society, and this is not the part of my topic, but I tell you one thing, that the superpowers came into being throughout the world history when they learned to utilize their resources properly. If the rulers like Ahmad Shah Baba and others of Afghanistan invaded Iran, which was superpower in those days, who invaded India, which was also a superpower in those days, they were not because of Ahmad Shah or the honor and self-esteem of Pakhtuns. This was because of his black, the Luhar, who turned his iron into excellent weaponry. The economy was yours because your carpenter, the simplest example is our ties were made by our neighbor Tarkan, carpenter, lumberman, right? And today my kids' ties are coming from China. So why should I expect to develop my economy? It will never develop. So journalism can teach people. The thing must not be fancy, but at least it should be your own. Yesterday, if there was a bicycle in my village, that was my own. If now I have 200 cars in my village, I shouldn't be proud of that because they have been bought by the loan my country took from the outside world. They are not mine. So teach people through journalism the self-esteem, the selflessness, and that is the main strength of a journalist and a society. Journalism can be missionary, it can be professional, it can be a money-making device, and it is the journalist's mind to decide that which sort of journalism they are taking forward. Because I have seen journalists who were the world best journalists and the world best reformers. I have seen journalists who became a cause, became a source for the development of a society, and they successfully did it. They didn't earn enough money, but they changed the society completely with their skills. People are saying that in this society there is no research and no development. You calculate, I am given to Panama leaks just for 6 months, and then calculate the coverage given by all the print media, the electronic media, the social media to science and education in the last 60, 70 years. This 6 months Panama will be heavier, and that 60 years will be lighter, much lighter. So what are you making from your society? You are teaching them. You are politicizing mind negatively. Are you, the corruption story comes on the news. Everybody promises that every punishment will be given. After a few days, everything disappears. And I wrote an article on that probably in a newspaper, that we are teaching people to do corruption, and then we are telling them that you are not the only, many have done it and nobody could say anything to them. So our journalism is telling people that. It means that. You are not telling them, but it means that. Right? So be careful when you are giving it. It was completely senseless because she saw a picture of a kid. He went up to the medication. So journalism has that responsibility to not put anything which has such drastic effects on the society. So the journalist is a mentor of the society. He must be very, very careful and what you call paraphrasing the news item, showing the picture, showing other things. It must be very, very careful because our society is illiterate. They don't know. Journalism must be very, very responsible for that sake. When you start swearing at one another and that society, swearing becomes a norm. So as the politicians do, their honor finished from the society. So the journalistic language must be decent enough because we are always angry and we want to write whatever we want. It must be where you watch, judge and tell the public about your aim, report corruption, initiate discussion and guide policymakers or teach to go ahead, teach to learn from history, and local heroes or foreign heroes reflects what? When you are telling people about British scientists, about Japanese scientists, when you are telling people about Alexander the Great, Napoleon and all these people, you are teaching in other way to your kids that you are an inferior class and nothing good came ever from your society. But there were people in Punjab, in Sindh, in Balochistan and in KP who defeated the superpowers of the world. Why are you not? They did many, many revolutions. Whatever you had in your self-sufficient society up to the 70s were locally made. Everything was locally made. So your lumberman, your blacksmith, your every technical hand was at the peak and you were self-sufficient in every respect. Where did the gap come and why did we fail? This is my duty and your duty to tell people, yes please. So if we tell them about local heroes, then we will encourage them that you are not always that class which you are treated locally. So science journalism is basically a route or tool to bridge the gap between the scientist, engineer and public. Science journalism is as I told you, it is the opinion builder. And opinion building will come when you translate the highly technical scientific details into such a fine, easy and common man-level language that people learn what this person is saying. And it is a joke, but sometimes you compromise the accuracy and you look into the level of the public that what they want. And I'll tell you this in Pashto, that once a very highly educated person came to our department and a few professors were telling him that what the electron microscope does. And they were telling them that the electron beam is coming and we put a small sample there, we do this, we do that. And he was shaking, he said he was not understanding. When I came, so he told me that I understand your language, what all they say. So this is the important thing, that you learn the language of your audience. And if you are not speaking or writing in the language of your audience, a person asked me, what's the time? And I told him 3 p.m. And he replied, what is 3 p.m.? I don't understand 3 p.m. So should I slap him or should I guide him? I asked him that why do you need time? He told me that I want to go to that place, can I come back? When I looked into the history of that person, he was never gone to school. He was never gone to a hujra or a mosque. In the morning he took his cattle to the fields and came at the evening, ate dinner. So what should I expect from that person? So look into the level of the audience. Then design, architect your language and your thoughts accordingly, and then visualize and conceptualize scientific facts, laws, and information. When you can't visualize something yourself, you can't write about it. Whatever you write, you will be copy-pasting. So it is very important to train your brain according to the society as well as learn ABC of science. We don't mean to make Einsteins and Newtons from everybody, even from the physicists, from the engineers. No, we need some people to take to our market. And if we can take our science to the market, that is indigenous development of a society. And all the developed world is doing that. They are not, what you say, doing miracles. They are doing the same. They have universities, we have universities. They have industries, we have a lot of money for industries. They have books in their libraries, digital literature, and we have that. Then where is the gap? Where is the problem? Talk more, people will discuss more, and the solution will come out. At least the corrupt one, the resistor to such developments will come to public. And when a person comes to public, at least he will have some sense to work for the nation instead of earning money. Storytelling and graphics, how to portray science into story and image according to the level of audience and compromising accuracy, as I told you. So, I wrote a tapa there that mina patlora tlos yatigi kala raza kala bazadar zammayna. So when the journalists come to my department and I go to their offices, then obviously they will develop the sense of science and I will develop the sense of journalism. So that we should be together. We should mix up, because you are my tool to take my science to society, to give a realization to the society that what the science can do for them. And because even the industrialists, leave the public alone, the industrialist doesn't understand what science can do for them and for the society. And by copying the formulae and the prescriptions from the Europeans, from the Americans, from the Japanese, can make you a businessman, but you cannot become an original producer of that product. And the original can never match a copy. A copy can never reach the level of an original product. So yes, you can do copying to run your industry, but you will not be the market leader. You will be the market follower. So that is very, very important in that respect. And we, the science students and the journalists, are far away. There is another misconception, and I have very in detail discussed it in my book, Education for Socioeconomic Development, which is available on Amazon, that when I read science books for a few years, I said this is my field. And all the humanities peoples are banned from there because they don't have science background and they don't know science. So if I was from that community and I read a few books and I became a scientist, then why not you? So wash away these barriers. Everyone can learn anything right? Everyone can learn anything and pick up the books and play your role and tell the society that how can we move forward. Yes, please, next. Okay. Branches of science. I didn't go to the branches of science, but I saw that if we take only natural sciences, and natural sciences include earth sciences, physics, chemistry, and life sciences. And earth sciences have more than 25 subdisciplines. The chemistry has 54 plus, physics has 50 plus, and physics has 54 plus, and the life sciences have 78 plus subdisciplines. And if I tell you the truth, knowledge, whether it is humanity, natural sciences, basic sciences, applied sciences, the whole knowledge is one, right? All of us are learning the same thing. But when I go to the chemistry department, they tell me that I am a professor of physical chemistry. And when they come to my department, I tell them I am professor of chemical physics. Thing is the same, right? So never draw hard lines among different disciplines. Yes, people can distribute them into classes and groups according to for vertical studies, but never draw a hard line, because at the very end you will realize that you need chemistry, you need mathematics, you need biology. For example, in physics, when we are doing research, one of our projects is about the solar cells. We are making cover glass for the solar panels, but another project is with the IRNM. We are doing research on the dosimeters for cancer dosimetry and therapy, right? So the disciplines are not that much separate. So knowledge, the main source is from the universe, right? And you equally need social sciences, you equally need natural sciences, applied sciences, the basic sciences, and all are equally important, and never are enhance something differently. Yes, this link takes you to show you the numerous disciplines of various sciences, the bottom link. Yes, next please. Public demand from journalism. They are only looking for telling the truth. Tell them the truth. And if you don't know, then don't tell them, don't confuse them, because the people are already confused, too much confused. Me, after doing PhD, after seeing many countries, I am not sure what is going on in this country. This is confusing me, right? So one journalist will tell one thing, the other will say one thing. The best doctor will tell you, go for vaccination. The other will say, I am a Nobel laureate, and that this vaccine is dangerous for that. This is the duty of the journalist, to bring the true and reliable information to the society. Guide them to distinguish between the right and wrong. And the definition of Quran, Allah says that it is Furqan, and Furqan is from Faraq. And Faraq means distinguishing between right and wrong. So Quran is the distinguisher between right and wrong, and your journalism is the same thing, to guide the society to distinguish between the right and wrong, and the truth and the lies. Guide them in the right direction, because there will be subject, if I give you explain it with an example, that if you are studying chemistry, physics, mathematics, biology for 100 years, and you can't take them to society, shouldn't we think that we are wasting our time? Because such sciences are not for paradise or for Jannah. They are for this world. And if I couldn't get benefit from them, and 70 years, then why should I go for that again and again? If I am producing Hafiz of physics, Hafiz of chemistry, they are of no use. So you should question us. The journalism should question us, and then we should explain it, that where is the flaw? How you can take the science into society? How to utilize the knowledge of physics, chemistry on the material, on the raw materials, to transform them into marketable products. Then we will tell you, we will guide you, that what to tell to your leaders, what to tell to your policy makers, how to convince them, so we can together move forward and change our society. Yes, people do it in the developed world already. So if other people can do it, why not we? Another important thing, I see in the evening that a new channel starts, and tomorrow it reaches every ear and every eye up to the kids of the country. This means you can do. You can reach your voice. You can take your voice to every ear and every eye of the country. Then why not for good? And if you are not doing it, then tell us who is doing it. That a channel is established in the night, and tomorrow morning it is in every house and its message has gone. Right? So if you don't do it, then tell us who is doing it, because you know. And that knowledge is very important for the society. The laptop ma tara ganau shukha. Ask a person that you are telling us from the very early ages and very early stages that when journalism is free, there is no ban or lock on tongue and ear and everything, then the world will change. I told him that happened. Now everyone can speak and everyone can write. He told me that the rulers closed their ears. Our mouths were opened, but the ruler closed their ears. So journalism can do that, and they should shout, they should raise their voice. An important thing, when I do a very good scientific activity in my department, none of the journalists bothers to come. No TV station, no radio, no newspaper. Tell them that a minister is coming, then all of them are running into the room, and the room is full of cameras. So, this is the main problem, that we are teaching elitism through our journalism, through our society. The same is doing my Vice Chancellor, the same is doing by me. We all are slaves of elitism. And this is the very prominent symbol of slavery. So change that culture. Look for the quality of what is being done. Don't look for the people who is coming there. And that will give a realization to a society that these people are now professional, these people are now missionary, and you will have a say around the world and everywhere. Yes, we are not different. Can you move forward, please? And technologists, this is the simplest thing I can tell you. Scientist builds to understand. Scientist builds to understand. An engineer and technologist understands to build. We are designing experiments to verify a principle of physics. And the engineer learns that principle of physics to make an instrument for the society from that. So, physicist, chemist, and scientist builds to understand things. And the engineer and technologist understands to build things. That is the main difference between the two. The physicist tells that this thing has this property. This is the physicist's job. This is the scientist's job, right? And from where does that property come? That is the job of the scientist. And then how to utilize that property is the job of the engineer. तुम्हाला दा गिलास लग रहा था? What is property of a material? I am telling you that. Look at this. It didn't get wet, but I put it on another cloth and it will get wet. This is the property of this material. So how you define a property? It is the response of a material to an external stimulus. If I put my finger at that wall and I get an electric shock, this means current is going there. And that shock is the response of the material to the external stimulus. Similarly, if this cloth, this sleeve, get wet when I put water upon it, then this wetness is the property of that material. And what is wetness? This is the response of this sleeve to the external stimulus water. So when you define, you look for the origin of the property, from where that come, then it is interatomic spacing. If the spacings are there where the water can be absorbed, then it will get wet. And if there is no space, the interatomic gaps are too small, then the water will just pass by and it will not be absorbed by the sleeve. So this is the property. Electrical telecommunication properties. The journalist should know the basics. My cell phone is the development of material and physics. And we need only 3 things in the journalistic language: portability, no loss. Portability means you can take your cell phone in your pocket. There should be no signal loss on the way. When the signal is coming and it reaches you, it is not interrupted. That is another property I need. The third property is that the temperature changes in Murray. It is about 0 or -5 or whatever it is. In Jacobabad it will be 55. So if I take my mobile phone from Murray to Jacobabad, there is no difference on its functioning. For journalistic language it is functioning. For me it is resonant frequency. And when I translate it into my technical language, you say to people that the cell phone is nothing but a device which can be carried in pocket, whose signal is not interrupted in between by anyone. And the third, it is not temperature dependent. It works equally at high and low temperature. But in physics, I translate it into the temperature coefficients of resonance, the dielectric constant of the material, and the quality factor, which is inversely proportional to the loss. So we should have a language to teach you, and you should teach us that what do you need, how much simplicity, how much communicability is there between our and your tongue and pen. And if we try to do it, then of course we can tell the significance of science to the society. We can tell the society that there are many illiterate people, but they are excellent technologists and they can contribute to the society. If my illiterate kid in Dara Damkhel can make Kalashnikov excellently, why can't he make refrigerator? Why can't he make a washing machine? Why can't he make microwave? Make all the things we are importing from the developed world. The cloth, and you name it, and they are there. Because there is some gap, we have not made opinion of the society, which is our, together we should do that, and we can do it. We should guide people. My minister doesn't understand what science is because he has been graduated like that as I am. I was not taught to go outside my mental frame. I am being taught to be an excellent slave, an excellent servant. I have not been taught to get out of this box and think for your society and your nation and be bold and blunt for the society. You must be aggressive because your future is at stake. For me and for you, we must be aggressive and we must force people because we suffered because of that mutual disconnection between the science and society. We couldn't take it there. Can I make the atomic bomb? And if I say no, I am not a scientist. Can I fly in the sky? If no, then I am not a scientist. Science is nothing like that. But what sort of scientist am I? Why not turn stones into gold? But when you say that in a university, that let us turn our stones into gold, and more than 50% teachers will shout that he cannot teach physics and he is turning stones into gold. Because they want to discourage you. People should encourage people. If a person can't do anything, at least engage him in a positive activity. If it is not positive, then at least it should not be negative. But when you tell people that you can't do it, you are rubbish, then how can you expect something from that teacher or that student? So encourage people. Positivism, develop it. My student can't do their MSc or FSc in this country, but when they go outside, they easily do PhD excellently. Why? Because their societies are positive. They are encouraging people. They are not discouraging people. So always try to encourage. And we learned that from them. Yes, please. Oh, this is the very old human being. This man, he used to be sleeping with one eye open because he was scared of the outside world and he was thinking like animals. But when he learned to enter the cave and put a big stone in the front of the cave, he felt secured. And that allowed him to close the other eye as well. And he learned sound sleeping. And that sound sleeping took his mind higher. And the aim of education and that world was a comfortable and useful life. And today the expectation from education are the same. That man was also in many problems. And today's man is also in many problems. Because we couldn't wash away the wild nature from the human mind with the time. Socialization means that we must not be cruel, we must not be wild, but we failed, our education failed, because the modern day human being is more dangerous than the one millions of years ago. So journalism can teach people tolerance and teach them that this is the level of your education. Another important thing, we never accept that we don't know. I didn't know many pronunciation and I googled it last night and I found how they are spoken. So it is not shameful, right? We must not be only Allah is the full alim because he knows about the present, past and future of the smallest, from the smallest body to the largest bodies. And we don't know what is happening across the wall. So never consider yourself alim or scholar or what. We are all students and learning and moving forward. So, yes please. So this was the first classroom. Yeah, next, go. This is the first agriculture revolution. Go ahead. I am not taking too much time on it. This is the second, where a little bit industrialization came. Yes. Next. Yes. Create interest of the people in the science. If a student is not coming to the class, ask about his interest. That in which area he is interested. For example, he is fond of chicken fighting. So discuss with him that. Start with him, open up him. And when there may be excellent scientists and engineers in those illiterate kids. But never allow them to go onto the street. Because school, institution, is the hospital of the society. And if you throw away a patient out of the hospital, you are telling him, go and die away. But when that student comes out of the institution, he can be a thief, he can be a murderer, he can be a corrupt person of the society. And whose society is it? It is your society. The same teacher will be robbed by the same student. The same teacher will be killed by the same student. So for your own sake, not for others, protect this society by encouraging people towards education, towards quality and fees. If the kid remains in school, the minimum he can be a clerk, and he will be serving the society. He will not be picking gun. So always support people. So zircon grains of Australia, 4.3 billion years. I was telling you about the chicken, about the earth, about the history, because these science things broadens your mind, take you 3.4 billion years back. So touch the minds of the people with such marvelous findings. And when you tell them about these, you will attract them towards science. And science then moves towards the technology and the development of the world. But if you fail to attract them, then of course they will go towards guns. Because everyone wants to be prominent. And if you close the positive doors, then the negative doors open automatically. Stop. Where is the full stop? Everyone has his own full stop. The level of one knowledge, skill, define the depth and width of his universe. If you think about the greed of the 19th century or 20th century man, he would have not left a piece of bread for the next century. We are so greedy. But the food quantity increased with time. The population doubled, but we have more food than the past. Right? What this means, that the universe has been locked. The universe has been locked for everyone's share, but its key is knowledge. The more you learn it, the more you get from it. If you can climb up to here, your world is only here. But if you can cross it, then your world is bigger. And if you can go a bit higher, your world is more bigger. So the universe is yours. It is not American's universe. It is not Japanese universe. It is not the British universe, African universe, Asian or Arab universe. This is yours, of all humanity. And the key to get it is knowledge and skill. If you have more skill, you will get more from it. And if you have no skill, then you will live like a parasite in this society. Other will take from this universe and you will be begging from them. So knowledge is the key. And that is your sacred share. Universe is not somebody else. It is yours. But you need knowledge. And when you get that, you have the keys. So, it is, yes please, up to your knowledge. I am giving you glimpses of science. 2400 years ago, people knew about these 9 elements. the mankind didn't know about the remaining all elements. Yes, next. Then I skipped many slides in between and we reached up to 119. And remember, I told you that the universe is enormous. If people say that that country is taking my resources and this country is taking resources, the universe is so enormous that none can finish it. But you need the skill and knowledge. So I showed you that the old man knew about 9 elements 2400 years ago and the modern man has 118. Yes, next. Two major revolutions in the mankind history. The first revolution was this. He was able to make a pot from clay. And do you know what this clay pot did? We used to be drinking water like animals in the canals and in the ponds. And that part made us human, that we picked up water and drink like that. So big revolution. The European, the Americans tried for 1,000 years, but they couldn't turn this clay into this transparent product. And the Chinese had done it. That is why people call it China, fine China. And even the very true English product is bone China. But they are also calling it bone China, not bone English. Because it was the discovery of the Chinese. Right? This was the first human revolution. And it used to be called the white gold in those days. And Europeans, the Majolica products of Belgium and some from Italy, they made it about 1,000 years after the Chinese. And then that technology transferred to England. And in England they have now this very excellent industry. Go to this Karkhano market and ask for the Ryle Dalton dinnerware. When its price is, you ask the price, it will be 50,000, and ask the same dinnerware from your Pakistani, it will be. So much differences. So you enhance the value of your natural resources through your engineering skills and your knowledge of physics, chemistry, and biology. And we together have this duty to tell the people that we can do it, but we need a rope and what you call spade, and we can do it. But we are missing that rope and spade, and that is why we are suffering. It is much, much easier as many people who are not stronger than us, who are not sharp than us, they have done it and they are enjoying. And we couldn't convince our society. So we must do it. The next revolution, I am not going into that detail, but was the cell phone. And the story of the cell phone is this, that in 1939, Rich Meyer was and he just published a paper, and in that paper he speculated that instead of the vacuum cavity, we will be able to use the solid state resonator in telecommunication devices. That solid state resonator reduced the size of the telecommunication device from lorry size to your cell phone size. And this is the fastest spread technology in human history. So these are the two biggest revolutions in the mankind world. People always talk about different revolutions. So here, agriculture economy, about 5,000, 10,000 years ago, the first agriculture revolution came, and agriculture economy was based on land, labor, and natural resources, nothing else. Labor, land, and natural resources. Then industrial economy, capital, labor, and management. And then knowledge-based economy, science and technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So we are moving with this speed, yeah? Now, we included these two factors. social and environmental should not be compromised for economics. Because you need economy, you need money for your happy life. But if you are socially impaired and you are environmentally poor, you can't live in your society. Then go to hell with the economy. Why do you need economy? You need for a better life. If your life is suffering because of social imbalances and discriminations, and environmentally the environment is not breathable, then why do we need it? This is the modern world. Yes, move forward. Yeah, the post-industrial and industrial. Next, please. Yeah, here. Quintuple helix. Environment for society. Then here you have quadruple helix, context of society for triple helix. And when you come down, knowledge economy is the first, knowledge society, knowledge democracy is the next one stage, and the socio-ecological transition is the next step. Yes, move forward. I'll explain it a bit later. So these are different. Yes, next. Yeah. Lean the page ane. Sishe varto अंग्रेज आएगी. Catapult varto ये sorto है. Golel varto Urdu के हुई. Pakhto के varto लिंदो हुई. I am telling you how to simplify things for the common man. When atom is at the ground state, it is spherically symmetrical. When it is spherically symmetrical, the positive charge is in the center of the atom and the negative cloud of electrons are orbiting around the atom. So if they are uniformly distributed and they are of spherical nature, there is no polarity. When polarity is not there, then it is the loose catapult, right? The loose golel, the cystalindo, it can't do work. But when it is pulled, it can do work. This means when you can polarize an atom, then it does work. And your whole dielectric, telecommunication, and all these industries are based on this theory, on this philosophy, that you induce polarization into the material and that takes you forward. Yes, please. It's technical. Whose brainchild this world is? Whose brainchild this world is? Is it my brainchild or our elders' brainchild? Because you, the scientists, and the journalists can come together and predict how the world should be tomorrow. Do you want this wall to be made from cement and concrete? Or you want it to be a piezoelectric or pyroelectric material? Or an electrocaloric material? When the sun falls upon it and it gives you heat or coldness. It does refrigeration. It is you who predict the tomorrow's world, and then the scientists and engineers sit together. So the science fiction comes from journalism. The journalist stand in the shoes of everyone. He stands in the shoes of a scientist and write fiction and spread it around the world. He stands in the shoes. How many illegal appointments we do? You are a journalist and you know about it. Even we do plagiarism. A true scientist, a true journalist can never be a plagiarist. They will never tell a lie, because lies and science, lies and journalism cannot survive together, cannot move together. Torture the one who works and oblige the one who don't. Give share to the investigator and turn your black face into white. People shout that they have the key, but it is not needed in the. Don't do it, then none will do it for you. Next, please. Yes, these are the people running out of this country because of our policies. And they die when the boats drown offshore the Italian and Greece coasts. So don't run away your youth from the country. And me and you can do it. Because the most important things, as I told you, you are the opinion builder and I am the nation builder. And if we two failed, then the nation is failed. And if we two passed, then we can develop this country and we can live with honor and dignity at par with the developed world. There is no difference. Thank you very much.